When the move of God begins, most times, some people think they are qualified. They know the atmosphere. They know the doctrine. They know the exegesis. So they sit down as the nobles. So they cannot interpret the strange things that God is doing. They want to judge spiritual occurrences from their mind, and it disqualifies them. When Jesus invited the nobles, they refused to show up. Did you not read in scriptures? The Sanhedrin had been watching the prophecy of Isaiah for 800 years. But when Jesus came, they did not see him. They were disqualified. They are the nobles. They refused to show up. They gave flimsy excuses. And Jesus now said, okay, since the nobles can't come, go to the street. And then they invited people from the street. Yet there was still room. Because the move of God is bogus enough to accommodate every one of us. In the day of the move of God, there's no room for jealousy. Because the usher will raise the dead. The pastor will be talking. The guy at the door will raise cripples. And it's not a strange thing. Everybody becomes a carrier of Jesus Christ in ever increasing intensity. So there was room. And because of the excess room that was available, he now said, go into the highway and compel them to come into the banquet. The word is anakazo. It is a kind of power that defies cultural difference. It's a kind of power that undermines intellectual prowess. It's a dimension of power that has no regard for age difference. So you may see a boy of 15 years, and when an akazo comes upon him, he will come to the street corner and he will cry. And even the elder and the young, regardless of demographic, will journey there. He said when God came upon John, he didn't go to the synagogue. If he went to the synagogue, naturally he will meet people that fear God. He went into the wilderness, and right there in the wilderness, all he did was cry. And suddenly he said the whole of Jerusalem and Judea went to him. It's called power evangelism. If there is no power, we are talking. We are gisting, we are joking. We cannot contend with the spirits of the age. We cannot contend with the territorial spirits. We cannot bring deliverance unto Jacob until a power comes upon us. This is beyond psychology. Psychology, we work for a group of people per time, but it cannot affect everybody. When you hear that the whole of Jerusalem and Judea went to him, there was something at work in his life. It's called anakazo. That's why when I want to move in the spirit, I say off every sound. If it's not working, it's not working. Because people can hear sound and fall down. How about the man who is deaf? The compelling power. In Psalm 66 verse 3, it says, say unto the Lord, how terrible are thy works. That's the kind of power we are talking about. It said, through the greatness of thy power, thy enemies submit themselves to you. They were not advised, they won't hear it. They were not motivated, they won't hear it. They were not manipulated, they won't hear it. The only thing that will cause them to come on their knee and to worship him before the cross is through the greatness of his power. He said, through the magnitude of thy power, thy enemies had no choice. See, they tried other alternatives, it didn't work. When God begins to move, they come with gossip, and then the power is too strong, and then you graduate from gossip, and then they go with negative expectations and prophecies. It will soon fail, don't worry. And then you go beyond it. And then they come with direct confrontation and persecution. And then you still go. When everything is done and dusted and it doesn't work, then they come to you and say, I celebrate you. I celebrate you. Through the greatness. It's not English language that takes men there. It is something in God called power. He said in Exodus 3:20, I will strike the whole of Egypt with my signs and with my wonder. Then he will let you go. Nothing moves until power is released. That's why I said the gospel is not excellency of speech. He said, when I came unto you declaring the counsel of God, I did not come with excellency of speech. I came with the demonstration of spirit and power. If it is divine agenda, the number one thing is power. If power have not manifested, the compelling force will not be there. They will hear you, they will enjoy your message, they will still go back doing what they are doing. The Bible said when David became mighty in God, he said daily men joined themselves to David until his host became like the host of God. His host, that was a man. His host became like the host of God. Who was David? A boy in a family of 8 that was forgotten. When God came to the family through the prophet, they didn't think he was worthy. They looked at him, they said, no, if God wants to use everybody, it can't be David. David doesn't look like it. Eliab had stature. They had different credentials. David had no credential. He was in the backside of the woods. But when the time came, he was the one God nominated. And when that power came on him, whether he was educated, it was not a factor. Whether he was popular, it was not a factor. Whether he was learned, it was not a factor. Power was the foundation of reality. And when Saul wanted to kill him, David did not run looking for fraternity. He was in a cave called Adullam. And to make things worse, it was not soldiers that came to David. I thought the troop he commanded in the army of Saul will come to support him. They neglected him. He said 400 broken and battered men who were in debt. 400 broken and battered men who were in debt. These were the kind of men that came to David. But when David saw them, he knew what made him. And if I can introduce them to what made me, they will become like me. And a point came, 400 broken and battered men. The Bible said, and Adoni, who was of the Tachomite, one of the first 3 in rank, he said he took a spear and he slew 800 men. How can a broken and battered man take such feat? Something had entered him. Something had entered him. Because the power we talk about is not psychology. The power we talk about is not philosophy. The power we talk about is not sociology. It's the power of God. Something came upon him. He said, Eleazar, the son of Dodo, once upon a time, Israel was fighting to defend the land. And he said the whole army of Israel ran, but he stood his ground. A point came, one of them was stronger than an army. So you now discover when power comes, number is not consequential. It is stature that matters. The men standing, what do they carry? I'm not talking about a system where people... Let me leave that alone. When I talk the subject of power, I talk it passionately. Because I did religious Christianity for a long time. Until in 5 years, 6 people died in my house. 5 years. And now discover power is not English language. I discover power is not title. It's better not to have a title and have power than to have titles without power. The demon will make a mess. 6 people died in 5 years. What was going on? I realized there was something lacking. The day power came, the gate was shut. You look at yourself, you say, I don't look like. Forget it. Look alike is not power. It's not power. Yahweh. The disciples were with Jesus for 3.5 years. Jesus trained them. They knew how to lay hands. They knew how to lay legs. But it was different from power. It's not how hands are laid. It's not how legs are laid. It is what backs the action that matters. And the point came when they were threatened. They knew they needed power. So they prayed for empowerment. That's what will change this world. Forget this complex English language talking. Forget this packaging without power. I'm not against excellence. Come on, take a look at me. But without power, you are naked. No matter how well arrayed you are, without power, you are naked. It may not be obvious to men, but in the spirit it's very obvious. Every spirit we know. Because when you speak in the spirit realm, the first thing they say is, by whose authority? By whose authority? Who told you you can do what you are doing by talking? How dare you? Do you know the realm you are talking to? This is a realm of thrones. This is a realm of princes. This is a realm of dominion. This is a realm of power. Who told you you can read a textbook and come to give command here? By whose authority have you come? There must be something backing you up. And until you can touch that realm, you can shake nothing on ground.